चले गए थे वो?
Welcome back everyone to my channel. The film starts with a disturbing flashback. We see a young boy, Randy, witnessing a frightening sight, a woman with blood coming from her eyes. Fast forward to the present day, and Randy, now 21, is abruptly awakened by the very same terrifying nightmare. That awful past event has never truly left him. Trying to shake off the recurring trauma, he gets into his car and drives to his job, a small, rural drive-in restaurant where he's been employed for the past year. That morning, the boss gathers Randy and the other employees for a quick staff meeting. Also present are Benson, Chris, and Chris's girlfriend Jess, who appears to be excessively affectionate in a professional setting. Chris, however, isn't just flirtatious, he's also a deeply unpleasant person and a tormentor. The boss criticizes him for being lazy the night before and then assigns the day's tasks to everyone else. Later, the boss pulls Randy aside for a private discussion. Impressed by Randy's good behavior and discipline, he generously offers him a promotion to a managerial role at a different restaurant location. But instead of being overjoyed, Randy looks hesitant. It's clearly a significant career opportunity, yet he doesn't seem pleased. The boss instructs him to consider it carefully and determine if he is genuinely prepared for the responsibility. After the meeting concludes, everyone returns to work. Chris, with nothing more constructive to do, begins harassing Randy again, but Randy never retaliates. He has become accustomed to this mistreatment, silently enduring it daily. He simply lacks the assertiveness to stand up for himself. As Chris and Jess start openly engaging in sexual banter at work, Randy becomes uncomfortable and eventually tells them to stop. Enraged by his demand, Chris takes things too far. He forcibly stuffs a day-old spoiled burger into Randy's mouth and issues a threat. All the while, another coworker, Benson, is quietly observing from a corner as he mops the floor. Finally, Benson intervenes, telling Chris to cease his actions, but Chris, ever arrogant, warns him not to interfere. That was the moment everything snapped. Benson's face hardens with anger. Without uttering a word, he calmly walks out to his car, retrieves a shotgun, and storms back inside. In one rapid motion, he fires, killing Chris instantly. Jess screams in terror at the scene, her voice echoing throughout the establishment. The boss rushes in only to be met with a second brutal blast. He drops dead immediately. Jess, still screaming hysterically, becomes the next victim. Benson silences her with a pull of the trigger. Randy stands frozen, almost in a daze, watching the carnage unfold. When Benson finally points the weapon at him, Randy doesn't even flinch. It's as if he's accepting of whatever is about to happen. But instead of firing, Benson makes a chilling decision. He spares Randy's life. Instead, he takes him as a hostage, forcing Randy to assist him. They drag the corpses into the meat storage room and lock up the restaurant. Randy complies with every order, fully aware that the slightest act of defiance could cost him his life. Soon after, Benson drives away with Randy in the passenger seat, heading toward an unspecified destination. Randy is baffled as to why he was saved, but Benson assures him that by the time the police discover the bodies, they will be long gone. He speaks as if nothing out of the ordinary has occurred. His behavior makes one thing absolutely clear. This man is a complete psychopath. Eventually, Benson pulls up at a different burger restaurant for breakfast, acting as if it's just another typical day. While they eat, he finally explains his motive for keeping Randy alive. He claims he has been observing Randy for a long time, studying his quiet, withdrawn personality. Benson asserts that he wants to teach Randy a harsh lesson, how to become tougher, fight back, and make his own choices instead of constantly letting others dictate his life. To Benson, Randy wasn't just a hostage, he was a kind of test subject, an experiment. Benson wanted to see how Randy would respond when forced into terrifying situations, how far he would go when pushed to the limit. Of course, it was all a sick game. The truth was, Benson would likely shoot Randy the moment he felt even slightly threatened, but in his mind, this exposure was therapeutic. At the burger place, Benson singles out a staff member named Marcia. Without hesitation, he insults her directly, telling her she has achieved nothing with her life. His words are harsh and offensive, yet he turns to Randy using it as a lesson, proof in his warped rationale that mean words are ultimately meaningless. After they finish breakfast, they get back on the road. Along the way, Benson probes into Randy's past. He learns that Randy's mother once forced him to repeat the second grade. That event left him feeling deeply scarred, and because of that setback, Randy didn't complete high school until he was 19 instead of the usual 18. Benson mocks this, calling it excessive parenting. In his opinion, no child should ever fail the second grade. Soon, they arrive at Benson's house, where his mother is confined to her bed in her room. Benson gives her breakfast and warns Randy not to touch a single object while he goes to get his revolver. However, Benson's mother notices something odd. There are blood stains on Randy's clothes. The stains are far too dark to be ketchup, as Randy nervously suggests. Suspicious, she asks Randy to hand her the phone so she can call someone. Randy hesitates, then slowly extends the phone toward her. But before she can grasp it, Benson lunges, stopping him. Enraged, Benson scolds Randy for disobeying and drags him back outside to the car. There, he makes his intent clear. Make decisions for yourself, but not the kind of stupid ones that will land me in trouble. In that instant, Randy had the perfect opportunity to dial 911 to contact the authorities. But he didn't. Fear, timidity, and indecision all kept him paralyzed. Instead of taking action, he simply handed the phone to the elderly woman, following her request, but failed to make the one call that could have saved him. Meanwhile, back at the drive-in restaurant, another worker arrives for her shift. She notices the bloodstains and quickly notifies the police. Benson and Randy continue their tense journey. Inside the vehicle, Benson abruptly asks Randy if he has a girlfriend or if he is still a virgin. Nervously, Randy admits that he is single, and yes, he is a virgin. Surprisingly, Benson commends him. In his deranged rationale, he states, "Too many guys rush into sex, end up with kids they never desired, and those children grow up only to realize they exist because their parents were just horny teenagers." According to Benson, it's the kids who ultimately suffer. As they are driving, a police car speeds past them, sirens blaring. Randy glances over nervously, but Benson remains calm, continuing down the road. A little while later, they stop at a gas station. Benson orders Randy to fill the tank while he goes inside to pay. Alone for a brief moment, Randy quickly scans his surroundings, desperately searching for a route to escape. But before he can even contemplate running, Benson makes his move. Pulling out his firearm, he discreetly points it at the cashier's back, silently warning Randy, "Try to escape, and this man dies." Any other person might have risked it and fled, but Randy, passive and hesitant as ever, submits to the situation. He stays put. Back in the car, Benson shifts the conversation again, this time inquiring about Randy's past romances. Randy confesses he once had a girlfriend named Lisa, but they broke up because her cat passed away. It sounds ridiculous, and Benson bursts out laughing at the absurdity of it. But his curiosity is piqued. He decides they should go find Lisa and delve deeper into this so-called dead cat breakup. Meanwhile, back at Benson's house, a police officer arrives, suggesting that news of the murders may already be spreading. Soon, the two men arrive at a mall where Lisa works at a toy store. It's a busy Saturday, and she is getting ready for an expected visit from a group of second graders. As she arranges stuffed animals onto the shelves, she suddenly spots Randy. The shock on her face tells the whole story. This was the absolute last person she expected to see. When Randy timidly asks about their split, Lisa sets the record straight. She clarifies that they never actually broke up. After the death of her cat, she simply wanted Randy to understand her grief, to offer comfort, and to show that he cared. But Randy never displayed any emotion. Instead, he withdrew and never even bothered to reach out after she moved away. Lisa goes on to express her frustration with Randy for continuously refusing to talk about something that happened when he was just 7 years old. She wanted him to share his pain, to allow someone in. Listening intently, Randy finally starts to grasp her perspective. A faint sense of hope emerges. Lisa is prepared to assist him, but right now he faces a far more pressing issue. The psychopath Benson is still nearby, and children are due to arrive at the store at any minute. He urgently needs to get Benson out of there before a catastrophe happens. As Benson and Randy are leaving, Randy's phone rings. It's his mother, overbearing as usual, keeping a constant eye on him. She demands that he return home immediately, but Randy lies, concealing the chaotic situation he is trapped in. Slowly, he is starting to make decisions for himself. Lying to his mother marks his second act of defiance. Dragging Benson out of the store was the first. Somehow, twisted as it may be, Benson's toxic exposure therapy is actually working. Back on the road, Randy finally recounts the childhood incident that has tormented him for years. Back in second grade, his teacher, Miss Beard, had yelled at him for being misbehaved. Overwhelmed by anger and emotion, Randy grabbed a slingshot and shot an eraser at her. It struck her eye. The lead became deeply embedded, leaving her permanently blind in that eye. Soon after, she became a target of ridicule from students and faculty alike for her disfigurement. The incident devastated her life. She lost her job and spiraled into a dark world of mental health issues. For Randy, the guilt was unbearable. That opening nightmare we witnessed, the bleeding eyes, was his mind's interpretation of this trauma. A child's angry mistake had nearly ruined a person's life. Fortunately, Miss Beard eventually recovered, and today she was still teaching at the same elementary school. But Benson isn't finished. He forces Randy to face this guilt directly. Even though Randy is terrified and reluctant, they drive to the school and request Miss Beard's address from the receptionist. Since it is Saturday, she is not at school. Initially, the clerk hesitates, citing privacy rules. But once she understands Randy's motivation for wanting to meet her, she relents and provides him with the address. While they are inside, Benson suddenly spots the vice principal leaving his office. He immediately recognizes him. Intrigued, he approaches the man and asks if he ever taught at Central Elementary long ago. The man, Mr. Shepard, confirms that he was indeed Benson's third-grade teacher, but the moment takes a rapid, dark turn. While heading toward his car, Benson suddenly snaps and beats Shepard mercilessly, so brutally that it almost kills him. Randy steps in at the very last second, pulling Benson away. This was now Randy's third major independent decision, and once again it manages to impress Benson. It becomes clear that Shepard had not been kind to Benson back when he was his teacher. Later, the two show up at Miss Beard's doorstep. The moment she sees Randy, she recognizes him instantly. With surprising warmth, she invites him inside and even offers him tea. Randy, consumed by guilt, apologizes for everything and seeks closure. Miss Beard, however, had long since found peace. She was gentle and forgiving. She had learned to carry her pain without bitterness. She held no animosity toward Randy as she understood it was all just an accident. Life had moved forward for her. Now divorced, she was raising her daughter, Tessa. Still, she admitted she often worried about Randy, knowing that such an incident must have left deep psychological scars. Randy then explains that they found her address by visiting their old school. Meanwhile, Benson excuses himself and steps into the restroom, leaving the two to talk privately. But when he returns, things take a chilling turn. Miss Beard suddenly receives a phone call from the school. Someone had just attacked Mr. Shepard. Her eyes narrow. Suspicion intensifies, especially when she realizes these two men had obtained her address from that very school. Her worry escalates to fear when she notices blood smeared across Benson's hands. Benson loses control again. In a flash, he pulls out a gun and points it directly at her. But Randy speaks up, urgently telling him to stop. Surprisingly, Benson complies. Instead of killing her, he takes her as his hostage. Unbeknownst to Benson, Randy quietly slips Miss Beard's phone into his pocket, his fourth decisive maneuver. And now the three of them are driving aimlessly around town, with Benson having no real idea of what to do next. While driving, Randy suddenly claims he needs to use the restroom, forcing Benson to turn the car back toward the same burger joint where Marcia was working. Once inside, Randy gathers all his courage and dials 911. Shortly after, Marcia confronts Benson about the cruel comment he made regarding her life. Still seething with rage, Benson, in a furious outburst, fires a shot at her feet. He appears ready to escalate the violence even further, but Randy screams at him to stop. In the distance, police sirens grow louder, closing in fast. Benson, panicked and furious, demands to know who contacted the police. Assuming it was Miss Beard, he aims to shoot her, but Randy steps into the line of fire. The bullet hits him in the shoulder instead. Benson rushes toward him, ready to lash out, but Randy stops him. Calmly. He admits that he was the one who called the police, having taken Miss Beard's flip phone from her house. The confession stuns Benson for the first time. He breaks down. Tearfully, he whispers, "I was never in charge." It becomes apparent that Benson has been struggling with severe mental health issues, refusing to accept his own instability. He had tried so desperately to prove that he was stronger, better, and in control, especially to Randy. But now he finally acknowledges the truth. Overcome with emotion, Benson walks outside and seemingly provokes the police into shooting him. In the end, the authorities open fire and Benson is killed. A few days later, we see Randy babysitting Miss Beard's daughter, Tessa, as she returns home. Miss Beard is there to support him, guiding him gently. This entire harrowing experience leaves Randy in a significantly better place. In a shocking and brutal manner, the ordeal helped him move forward in life without fear. If you enjoyed this exciting summary, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content. Thank you for watching and have a great time.